Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone. Happy day to you, and welcome to a new podcast of the astrology and energies of this week. This is Molly McCord, and every Wednesday we talk about what is going on in the cosmos, what's happening in the world, and how is it connected to the astrology of this time. Thank you for joining me. I'm grateful for you. If you are new to this program, my website is consciouscoolchic.com, which is where I have information about astrology, of course, also my 12 books and spiritual teachings and topics on consciousness and energy. And I also have a new website that's geared towards business development for entrepreneurs, healers, authors, experts guides, and that is over at mollymccord.online, where you will find a ton of videos with advice, tips, all kinds of good information to help establish your business. It's so important right now to know that you're supported in your work in the world if it's really trusting your path and what you believe you're here to do and share. So I want to help you with that as best I can. Also, another thing to share with you is that I have a new YouTube channel. And on that channel, I have uploaded some videos where I go through an astrology chart and show you how the energies work together, where there's focus, where there's priorities. And I do these videos for each of the new moons and the full moons. And I actually just finished one for the upcoming equinox, too, on March 20th. I'll be uploading that soon. So, YouTube channel has even more good information to help you learn astrology. So, as I look at what's going on this week, I have to laugh because the energy is kind of bitchy, and if you feel that way, I want to validate you. If you feel emotional, frustrated, erratic, anxiety, your brain hurts, you just feel like it's a lot right now, I want to tell you, yes, it is. Specifically, it's all being triggered with the moon moving through Scorpio and making a conjunction to Jupiter in Scorpio. This is the energy of our deep emotions and what we truly desire and want. It stirs up also what we do not have, or perhaps what we see other people having. It really stirs up more about what's happening in our inner world. So that's going on. That's the moon and Jupiter in Scorpio in their lowest vibrations, and they are squaring the Sun, Mercury, and Venus in Aquarius. Sun, Mercury, and Venus in Aquarius are our ideas. What is the vision? What's the next path? What's the bigger dream? It is our sense of understanding all the pieces and how they fit together. It's understanding that we each belong to the cosmic puzzle. And so the energies right now are creating a square, and that is a frustration. It's where you just feel like you've had too much or things just aren't connecting. I was at a restaurant earlier today, and I was trying to order, and the young man who was taking the order kept talking over me and wouldn't let me order. And I finally said, can I just finish my sentence and tell you what I want? And I was, laughing about it. But it was kind of that sense of, can you just listen to me and don't be so far ahead that you think you know what's going on, because that is Aquarius energy too. It's a mental energy that's fixated on the future. And so you could get the sense of, I'm going to talk over someone or leapfrog ahead because I already know what they're going to choose. And we have to watch out for that. We have to watch out for the sense of our energy can feel outside of our bodies right now. And it can feel like a vacancy in your own energy field of not feeling grounded, not feeling supported or strong in your core. So what I want to do right now, really easily, all together, deep breaths. just take some really slow inhales through your nostrils and back out. And let's bring in some fresh air consciously and intentionally into all of our physical selves because we need that support right now. So just do a really slow inhale and a really slow exhale. And just keep doing that as I'm speaking to just let some things go. Remember what's not important. If you're feeling any deeper emotional stuff right now, it's all temporary. It doesn't matter in the long term. We're going to lighten it. We're going to loosen it. We're going to let it go. And with every exhale, you're letting it go. And this helps move any of that stuck energy that's really strong right now. Depending on when you listen to this, it will get looser and be freely moving later on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday when the moon goes into Sagittarius. Because by then, the moon in Sag is going to make a conjunction to Mars, and then it's going to make a nice sextile to the energies in Aquarius, the planets in Aquarius, Sun, Venus, and Mercury. So we're just moving through a few days of feeling things in a big way. But breathe through it and allow your breath to ground you and sustain you and give you perspective around what's really important and what is not. Other people could really be getting to you. Both Scorpio and Aquarius are energies about the other's feelings, the other's emotions, and the other's thoughts, the bigger spectrum of people, the crowd, the audience, the group. So you could really be feeling other people's energies right now more profoundly, and that's because of how we are all one. Of course, we are all connected, and we are all out of our bodies. We're all a bit crazy. We're all a bit crazy because the frequencies are meant to be elevating us. So we have these big waves, and then they go down, and then they go up, and then they go down, and we learn to self-regulate. And your breath helps you self-regulate. And that is free and available to you at any time, no matter where you are, is that self-regulation is through your breath. Here we just had a rocket launch from the United States, from Florida, and I wanted to touch on that because it has a really fascinating energy that connects to the astrology of right now. So first of all, rockets are Aquarian. Going to space is an Aquarian concept because Aquarius is about the future and where we're going, where we're headed, innovation, technology, engineering, robotics, robots, sci-fi, all the stuff that is ahead of its time. And so here in Florida, there was this big rocket launch. It was all over the news. And it's right where I live. In fact, we live in Cape Canaveral, Florida, and that's where the rocket launches are. That's because my husband works in the rocket industry. And so he was telling me about how this was a big deal, rocket launch, and I was kind of like, so what? Because there's rocket launches here every month, at least once a month. They're not as big of a deal as this one that just happened, but they happen frequently. And so I just thought, well, it's just another rocket launch because they happen all the time. And in our house, they shake our sliding glass doors. The sonic boom is incredible every time it happens. And it's fascinating to be feeling the vibrations of these rockets. So this rocket launch is the most powerful rocket yet on the planet. And it was a successful launch that went up and came back down. There were 2 sonic booms. And what this rocket was doing was it was going out to the orbs beyond the typical Earth orbs. It was going to the orbit of Mars. But it went even further than that. it actually went to the asteroid orbit zone and specifically got close to Sirius. Now, this is fascinating because that last eclipse last week was conjunct Sirius. And now we're just shooting a rocket that went to Sirius. So what does that mean? Well, Sirius is one of the asteroids that's all about our femininity, our feminine energy, and how we are really connecting with that in other places, other parts of our own energy. And what does that mean? You know, what does that mean to be activating more of the Sirius? It's not Sirius, that's a planet, but it's Ceres is the name of the planet. And this is where we're really, truly needing to look at what is true for our feminine selves and for our hearts. And we have all these energies that are reiterating the importance of Sirius, of the goddess, of femininity, of these archetypes. Now, in astrology, Sirius is an asteroid that is a goddess asteroid, and it's all about transitions in a female's life. It's motherhood, it's nurturing, it's being a mother. It's really about the moon's energy, but specifically kind of like in a denser way, if you will. And so we are looking at how women are evolving, how the concept and the archetype of femininity and the feminine is evolving. This is an asteroid between Mars and Jupiter. And so I think about this rocket very masculine in so many ways, and it's really about going to the feminine. Okay, so just play with that and look at how that is affecting your own energy field and the fact that you're meant to evolve past what you've known about your own feminine self and how it's a time of transition. Now, Sirius was conjunct this last eclipse. Sirius is currently in Leo, and it's an energy that is conjunct the North Node, and it was conjunct the Moon. So women are really moving forward. Now, that was one thing that became clear to me about this rocket launch that I didn't care about. The other thing that came clear is that when they're launching a rocket, they have a launch window, is what they call it, and that's the amount of time that they have to launch the rocket. And so typically it's usually an hour or an hour and a half. And this rocket launch had 2.5 hours, which is an exceptionally long window. And so the window of time is not just something they choose to, look at what's convenient. The launch window is chosen based on the Earth's rotation and how the Earth is transitioning, and they can launch that rocket and basically get it going into the orbit it needs to hit. So, of course, it's very sciencey. And it's very much about all the variables that go into launching a rocket. So it just so happened to be that how far they were launching this rocket, they had a bigger window of time to work with to get it to that right target area. If you launch a rocket, say, at night, you might have a shorter window depending on where you're sending that rocket to, because there's different orbits going around the Earth. It has to get past of course, these different gravitational pulls of the Earth. I am not a rocket scientist, so I can't explain all the particulars, but I just want to give you this brief overview of how this all works. So you have a launch window where basically it's the opening and how the Earth is rotating, and you say, okay, we can launch it between this time because that's how it's going to get where it needs to go. Where I'm going with this is that in the next week's solar eclipse, you have a big launch window for this upcoming new moon solar eclipse. It is exact on February 15th at 27 degrees of Aquarius. I'm going to give you a time for that. I just lost the time. That means when the moon enters Aquarius, about a day and a half in advance, your launch window begins of what you are preparing to launch for yourself. So the official eclipse, solar eclipse, at 1:05 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so 4:05 Eastern Time and 9:05 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Starting on February 13th, when the moon goes into Aquarius, the launch window begins, my friends, and this is when you're really getting things together and in gear in your Aquarius area of your natal chart for what is coming together for you. What is a new, and this is a big new, part of you. Now, this can take shape in so many forms. This could be a new project, a new dream, a new wish, a new intention, a new job. It could be anything. But what this new moon solar eclipse is doing for all of us, it's bringing together our energies to elevate our energies in this area of your chart where 27 degrees of Aquarius shows up. And this is important because we have a big launch window. And that's when the moon enters Aquarius, and it's going to build up to that conjunction with the sun. So every new moon is when the sun and the moon come together. The feminine and the masculine come together. They line up and they say, high five, we're on the same team, let's do this. And they sync up, and that's where this huge download of energy comes in. And I feel it as truly a new portal of ascension into the newness of you, into your new energy field. And how I see it in terms of a visual, the third eye visual, if you will, is that, okay, look at an outline of your human self. You know, you're 5'4", you're 6 foot, you're 5'7.5". Now take your energy and expand it out. And how far does it go? Because those are parts of you that are being integrated into your physical self. And it's sort of this particles, atoms, new DNA, new light codes, whatever energies are out there in the cosmos is coming in for you. And it's an acknowledgement of you and how you've transformed and how you've grown. It's also connecting with the energy of your future self, because Aquarius is the future. A solar eclipse, new moon in Aquarius is saying, who are you becoming, or rather, what version of your own energy already exists in another timeline, in another energy field, and you are connecting with it. I mean, that's a big pow, right? That's like a wow. Like, that's really that sense of newness and freshness. And believe me, I know that so many of you are ready for this. I know that January was a hard month for some people. And I want to acknowledge that because we always have this, I always see it as kind of a balance between people who are doing great and people who are feeling less than great. You have both sides of the teeter-totter, both sides. And so that's how we keep the energies on this planet in balance. And I know that some people had a stellar January and other people had a really hard, life-changing January. I know 3 people who lost their moms in January. I know people who had some really hard physical accidents or physical things come up. I know some people who have been going through some really hard emotional stuff, and January was a real bottom of the barrel. But please know, my friends, that all of this is part of our journey, of course. And you have to recognize yourself that you're doing this with consciousness. You're doing it with awareness. You're doing this with a higher perspective of what you're learning. But the thing about this journey on this planet is that we still are human. You don't get out of being human. You can feel superhuman at times, but you still have your emotions. And we still process grief. And we still have hurt and pain. And we get angry. And we have that sense of sadness. I mean, we have all of the emotions. And that's just part of the deal. But when you keep going, you open up to more of these energies coming in that support you, and you move through it faster. Move through it faster. And I mentioned that on this show before, just to know that if it is tough right now, all the planets are moving direct, which means it's actually moving. You're kind of being pushed forward. I just got this image of, have you ever been in a crowd and the crowd moves forward and you just have to move forward with the crowd because you can't fight the wave of people behind you? You just keep moving forward. It's that sense of something else is helping you move forward even when it feels like you're stuck. And I feel that it's hard to see that when you're in it. But afterwards, the gift of hindsight is, well, wow, I guess it wasn't as long as I thought it was. But when you're in something, it's the worst. When my son was born, he was awake every 2 to 3 hours throughout the night. And it lasted for 5 months. And I have a fabulous husband who was also doing the night duty with me, and we would take turns. And there's a reason why lack of sleep is a form of torture, because it's torturous to not sleep. And so we were in it, and it was horrible, and we were suffering because we both need sleep, a lot of sleep. And we just were in it, and all you can do is take it day by day, and people would say, oh, this phase goes by so fast. And we're thinking, not fast enough, because it's torture to not get sleep, to only sleep for 3 hours at a time at the most. And there was the rare occasion when the newborn was slept for 5 hours, and that was exciting. But then, of course, as all you parents know, that changes, and they do sleep longer through the night, and it becomes easier, and you forget how hard it was. That example is meant to help you if you're having a really hard time right now and you're in it. It will change. It is a phase that will change, and I want to offer that because it helps to just remember that perspective. A lot about the astrology of this year, I feel it as a new kind of freedom. I feel it as there's things that are breaking us out, breaking us free. Things you've already known that you're cementing or you're really solidifying and you're feeling it strongly. We have Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn right now. And these are tough guys. Pluto is a tough guy. Saturn's a tough guy. And in Capricorn, they are bringing up the topic of commitment. And commitment to what matters to you right now. And what is that? What matters to you right now? Saturn is now at 5 degrees of Capricorn. Pluto is at 20 degrees of Capricorn. So they have moved into new territory, and they're showing you and asking you to eliminate what you don't want anymore, to eliminate what's done, so that you can make commitments to what you want. See, Capricorn is actually the sign of marriage because it's about commitment and monogamy and long-term and responsibility and maturity and being an adult. We think, is Libra about relationships? Libra is when you start dating. Scorpio is when you discover the sexual connection, the emotional connection, the deeper underneath the surface connection. Sagittarius is where are we going together? What is our shared vision? How are our belief systems? What do we want in life? And then Capricorn is I do and marriage and the coming together and being that entity together. So the commitment issue is big for all of us. And as you know, you can't commit to everything, and you cannot disperse your energy too thin. So we're really meant to be eliminating and condensing our energy to be more clear, so you feel like a clearer vessel. And wherever this Capricorn energy is in your chart is where you're meant to be working with that sense of clarity and commitment around who you are and around what area of life this is in your chart. So that's just going to be strong for the next 3 years. The commitment, that sense of in it for the long term and what matters. Ask a Capricorn if they have their will done, if they've done their will, if they that's a Capricorn thing. The whole taking responsibility for your finances, all of that matters. And so that's kind of our responsibility here, is to take care of our earthly commitments, our earthly responsibilities, so we can manage ourselves and our energies better. So that's going to be a driving theme here as we keep going throughout this year. And it's going to be something that we'll keep coming back to and keep discussing so that you can remember that. And not every person does Capricorn energy well, quote unquote, but it's going to be something that we're all responsible for. We all have to tend to and be aware of. We have Venus finishing up her time in Aquarius. She moved really fast through Aquarius, and she's going to be moving into Pisces here soon. She's at 25 degrees of Aquarius. And remember, the upcoming solar eclipse is at 27 degrees of Aquarius. So she's going to reach the solar eclipse point on Thursday and Friday. So look at what happens that gives you a preview of solar eclipse energy for you, because Venus is sashaying over that point first. Mercury is he's also moving fast. He's at 11, 12 degrees of Aquarius. He likes being in Aquarius. He gets our minds going, our mouths going, our ideas going. He wants to connect with all your friends. I don't know about you, but it just has felt like I've had more emails lately, more people reaching out, more talking. That is part of this Mercury in Aquarius. He's forward thinking, and so he's not even on the planet right now. Mercury is off in other realms. He's on that rocket, and he's scouting out the new territory. That's what he does in Aquarius, is he really gets us thinking of the next vision and the next dream. So keep note of those ideas and inspirations that come through, because they are meant to be, I feel them actually as quite cosmic, starseed, light worker, other planets, other realms. They're meant to give you more particles to play with. And it could be that you have that brilliant idea, like you just know, this is what I'm supposed to do, or this is what makes sense for me, or this is what I want to do. Mercury in Aquarius helps us with our next steps, keeps it moving forward. So that is in the works. Mercury will be in Aquarius until February 19th. And Venus is going to move into Pisces this weekend, February 11th. That's Sunday, February 11th. She's going to move into Pisces and soften. Venus in Pisces is so compassionate and kind. She's that friend that you feel you can tell anything to. She's a great listener. She has a warmth and a softness. I always think of a light pink color when I see Venus in Pisces. It's that sense of we all need a safe place to go, to hibernate, for downtime, to just be, to just meditate, to just breathe and reflect on what we've learned in this whole last cycle. Venus in Pisces is great for meditation and beautiful things that feel good for you. It's a spiritual, intuitive energy that makes it great for even deeper trust in your spiritual gifts and your own healing. So Venus in Pisces is about a retreating from the real world, contemplating what you have come to value and appreciate, and everything that you've learned since last March. It is a time of rest and relaxation, and it's a time of I'm just going to take it easy and not try to do too much, and certainly not try to be someone I'm not. That's going to be a nice shift because we have the 3 planets in Aquarius right now that are keeping us in our heads a lot. It's very cerebral energy. Sun, Mercury, and Venus in Aquarius is electrifying, and it can feel buzzy, very buzzy. Think about electrical wires, and they're just going, and their electricity, it's like it's running through us, through our systems in a very strong way. And it's running through the collective as well. So it gets everybody buzzing. And that relates back to what I started the show about, was how you could feel agitated, or you could feel erratic, or even have some anxiety because of all the buzzy energy. And that's where you come back to self-regulate and to do those deep breaths and to understand what's important to you and what can just slide away, and it's not a big deal. We also have our buddy Mars in Sagittarius right now. He's at 7 degrees of Sagittarius. I always think of Mars in Sag as a jock, like a football player, a rugby player. He's assertive. He wants to get things moving. He wants to run long distances. He's definitely got that masculine testosterone going. So the masculine energy for all of us is actually in a good place because Mars likes being in a fire sign, and he has his get up and go. He's ready to go. He charges ahead, and he can feel inspired and motivated. He can be scattered. He's an immutable sign. Sagittarius is a mutable sign, and so he could say, I want this, and then say, just kidding, now I want this. All the mutable signs like their choices. So he likes his choices. And keep your options open when Mars is in Sagittarius right now, because it could feel like you want to do one thing and then you want to do this thing. And you have to focus on what is best, what really connects with your truth. Sagittarius is about that higher truth that we believe in. Wisdom, faith, justice. If you use those as your northern points in the sky, like your true north compass, then you'll be in the right direction. And you'll make the most of Mars in Sagittarius, who can take you farther. That's what he does in Sag, because Sag goes far. It's the seeker and the explorer and the traveler, and we say, I want to go beyond what I know. I want to go beyond the boundaries and find something new that I thought was foreign. And so we have this ability right now to go further than we could before. And Mars is going to be in Sag for a bit, because he usually hangs out in a sign for about 2 months. And so he'll be here until right before the equinox in March. So we've got a good 6 weeks or so of Mars in Sagittarius, asking you to stretch your boundaries, and that means to stretch your faith and to stretch how you trust. And to, it's that sign of the energy of, if you could do anything, what would you go for? And Mars in Sag goes big. Go big or go home, baby. Now he is answering to Jupiter. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is in, of course, as we know, Scorpio, and that's why all the secrets are coming out and the stuff behind closed doors being revealed. It's quite juicy, but it's also meant to help us get to the heart of where we haven't done our work yet. Because you can only go so far as you believe you can. So how can you get deeper to the heart of your own belief systems so you can set yourself free to go further? And it's a bit like cutting off the anchor. You didn't even know the anchor was holding you down. And it's like, okay, I'm going to be done with that anchor. I no longer believe that anchor is my truth. So there's an energy here of really going in order to go further. I do love how Jupiter in Scorpio is playing nicely with Pluto in Capricorn at the moment. These two working together, it's called mutual reception. When you have the two planets in each other's, actually, no, I take that back. They're not in mutual reception. That will be, well, okay, so there's other rulers. There's traditional rulers in astrology and modern rulers, and they're just playing nicely together, let me say that. You have Jupiter in Scorpio making a sextile to Pluto in Capricorn, and so it's time to do the work, and you'll feel it at a deeper level of your being, and you'll feel it because you have support for what you need to do, what you need to accomplish and get done. The energy shows up, that sense of this is important and I need to do this. So that's just a really nice energy right now. And I hope you're feeling that sense of whatever is in front of you that's pulling you to go deeper and to know yourself deeper, it will pay off. It will pay off. And if you can focus and get the work done now, it will pay off. So let's see. We have also the planets in Pisces. Neptune is at 13 degrees of Pisces, just moved into 13 degrees. And Chiron is at 26 degrees of Pisces. Both of these planets were back and forth retrograde in the previous year. Now they're moving forward again, and they are opening up more of your understanding of your intuition and the deeper sense of what you've healed. Because Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, and it's about completion. And they've been working in tandem together, Neptune and Chiron, to heal you up real good. And it's hurt, and it's been hard, and it's sucked. And you felt powerless, or you felt separated from what you wanted. But all of this is meant to show you what is being transformed and transmuted into a different version of you. And we heal deeply when we are able to have a bigger picture perspective on the feelings, on the emotions, on the lessons, and on the other lifetimes. It's the soul's journey. A book that I recommend is called Your Soul's Plan by Robert Schwartz. I've been recommending this book since 2012. 2012. Robert Schwartz, Your Soul's Plan, is awesome. And it's going to help you with this Pisces energy of what you're finishing up, what you're healing, what you're completing, and what to take forward. Because Chiron is moving into Aries in April. And it's going to ask you to look at your sense of self and your self-identity. And it's a new start. It's a new sense of self. It's a pioneering spirit of this is who I am now. And so we're in these final 2 months of Chiron in Pisces. Now, Chiron is going to go back into Pisces in September, but so we'll revisit again what we're learning. Oh, goody. We always get to revisit it, right? But it's understanding that there are some things you really are completing so that you can move forward and set yourself free to be this new higher version of yourself. So the energies are quite cosmic, quite futuristic. They're asking you to stay focused on where you're going, the vision ahead, the dream ahead, the priorities. And that's all because coming up on February 15th, we have this new Moon Solar Eclipse. And now you have a launch window to work with, which is late on February 13th, all the way to February 15th before you blast off or feel that sense of a new start, new endeavors, new energies, new downloads, new inspirations, or even simply a new understanding of who you are becoming. So we can't say it's ever boring, right? It's never boring, and we're doing this together, and that's important to acknowledge too. I'm so grateful that you make the time to listen to this show, and I'm grateful that it's supportive and helping you, and I appreciate your time and your energy. Remember to self-regulate with your breath. And if you're interested in learning more astrology, please check out my new YouTube channel. The link is in the show description, or you can find it at Molly McCord, Conscious Cool Chic on YouTube. So thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you back here next Wednesday for another live show. Until then, take good care, and I will see you online. Bye-bye.